Alright, so we're looking at the framing options for 8mm film, Super 8, Max 8 on digital. So let's start with 8mm film. Now we pull back so that you can see the entire frame beyond the normal framing of 8mm. So we're seeing into the sprockets on the left and past the edge of the frame on the right. Now this kind of scan we call an overscan. So we're going past where normal framing should be, so that we can transfer most of what's actually on this physical piece of film. You would do this because you wanted every last detail that's actually on the negative, and it would be assumed that you would be framing this yourself later in whatever application you have. Now, normal framing for 8mm would look like this. This is the picture that you would see if you were shooting 8mm film or if you had projected 8mm film. This is standard SMPTE framing for 8mm. The camera person and the people watching 8mm as original would never have been able to see beyond this edge. The film is always recorded out a little further than what was supposed to be shown, so that you could hide certain defects in the edges of the frame. So this is a proper framed picture of 8mm inside of 16:9 space. Now, because it's a square format, or almost a square, and we're putting it in a rectangle format, we need to black off the sides of the 16:9 frame. Now, one option you would have is to actually frame out the 8mm film into 16:9 space and let the entire 16:9 space be taken up by the 8mm film. To do this, you have to trim off part of the top and part of the bottom of the frame, because you can't put a square inside of a rectangle. So as an application, it's a beautiful presentation of 8mm film inside a modern flat screen television set, but as an archive it's probably not a good choice, because you're actually throwing away part of the top and the bottom of the frame, and you may need or want or might want to reframe your film someday, and you probably would not be happy that you didn't scan that part of the frame. Now with Super 8, our scanner is set up to maximize the quality of the film. And so this is the overscan picture of Super 8. That is the full image that's typically on a piece of Super 8 film. There's never anything recorded between the sprockets on Super 8, and so there's no real necessity of scanning out to that point, and we can't do it anyway. So this is the framed version of Super 8. As you see, it's not a very big difference between an overscan in Super 8 and a normal frame scan in Super 8. This is because the machine's set up perfectly to deal with Super 8 film, and so it makes an almost absolutely perfect framed image with the Super 8 medium. You can also pull Super 8 out to the full 16:9 and fill a 16:9 picture with your Super 8 frame, but of course, again, it's a great application. It looks fantastic. It's nice to see the entire TV space be used in a flat screen. But again, it's probably not a great archive of the Super 8 frame, because you've thrown away what's at the top and what's at the bottom of the Super 8 master. So, good application, not such a good archive of this material. Now you have Max 8. Now Max 8 is a picture that fills the entire 8mm frame, so it makes sense to think about things like overscanning Max 8. When you overscan the negative in Max 8, you get the full picture that's on the film. So you can see the sprocket on the left bleeding in, and you run all the way to the right side, right off the actual physical film. So an overscan of Max 8 makes a certain amount of sense, particularly if you haven't decided what framing you're actually going to use your Max in, 4:3 or 16:9. Max 8 was designed to be used in 16:9. You see the 16 by 9 version of what's on the Super 8 negative. So your viewfinder shows you approximately this frame in a Max 8 modified camera, so that when you transfer Max 8, you get the frame that you were looking at in your camera. So a Max 8 negative was designed to be used in 16 by 9 space. There is a little bit of a crop to the top and the bottom in a Max 8 frame, so you are cutting out some of your negative, I guess, but that was the intention. So the medium of Max 8 was designed to be trimmed in a little bit to do a full 16 by 9 framing of 8mm film.